They are the stuff of legend and nightmare, the most feared predators of the oceans. They fascinate us and terrify us, even though experts agree their reputation as man-eaters is heavily exaggerated. They are sharks, and every once in a while, they remind us just how fierce they are. This is the gruesome story of Manuel Lopez, a diver who found his tragic end in the massive jaws of a shark. Now, theories about the man's particularly grisly demise abound, and even scientists are left wondering. Hit the like button and subscribe for more stories like this one. This is fierce. It was January 5th, 2023, and Manuel Lopez was in his boat, ready to dive into endless waters and search for axe stripes, a highly demanded type of molluscs. Lopez was in his 50s and a very experienced diver and fisherman. The man had been a fisherman for as long as he could remember. He relied heavily on fishing to make ends meet, but now his source of income was being threatened. The waters were more dangerous than usual. Sharks migrate to the area to feed in December and January. Mexican divers had been warned about the presence of sharks in the area for days. Many of them had spotted the creatures themselves. The area was teeming with sharks, all of them hungry and on the lookout for food. Because of this, most fishermen had been on high alert and had decided to wait the migration out, but not everybody afforded the luxury of preserving their own life. While the Mexican government offers a stipend of 7,200 pesos, roughly $400 per year, to supplement fishermen's income, the sum is not enough to make ends meet. Financial pressures meant Manuel Lopez had to make an extremely difficult choice: keep diving or risk poverty. Lopez chose the former one, despite the huge dangers it implied. He knew that he had a chance of making some really good money. There was a shortage of seafood in the area, which in turn had created a great demand. The man needed to capitalize on this demand at a time when very few others would risk facing the sea. So on the morning of January 5th, 2023, Lopez went out on his boat. He wanted to scuba dive in order to collect axe tripe, a mollusk like a scallop. These mollusks are usually at a depth of 36 to 59 feet. Pulling them out of the ocean floor can be quite risky. The turbulence can spark the interest of nearby sharks, but Manuel Lopez was willing to take this risk too. After all, he wasn't completely alone. Sure, he was the only one who planned to enter the water, but there were two tenders on board the boat. At about 11:30 that morning, Lopez dived deep beneath the surface of the water, never to return again. The Gulf of California, also known as the Sea of Cortez, separates the Baja California Peninsula from the Mexican mainland. It has a surface of 62,000 square miles, and maximum depths exceed 9,800 feet. In other words, there's plenty of room for all kinds of marine creatures to lurk, and some of them are far more dangerous than others. The Gulf's rich ecosystem is home to many, many animals. It also hosts a large number of migratory species, such as the humpback whales, the manta ray, the leatherback sea turtle, and, of course, sharks. Manuel Lopez was interested in only one of the numerous species that have their natural habitat in the Gulf of California. The man knew he'd find the precious axe stripes deep down, buried in the ocean floor. The two tenders, Lopez's co-workers, watched as the man dived deeper and deeper. Soon enough, he reached the ocean floor and started pulling axe stripes. And then something horrible happened. A terrifying huge shark emerged out of nowhere. The two tenders watched in shock as the huge creature opened its jaws and with a swift motion decapitated Manuel Lopez and bit both of his shoulders. It all happened so quickly, it was almost impossible. One moment, Lopez was there, looking for axe stripes and more than alive. The next, he was gone, torn to pieces by a terrifying creature. Horrified, the two tenders rushed toward the shore and alerted authorities. Lopez's death was instantaneous, which brought them some kind of solace, but the trauma was still huge. Theories about how and why the attack happened started pouring in almost immediately. Everyone had an opinion, from fishermen to marine experts. some scientists came forward and suggested the attack could have been prevented. According to them, it was all about the diving suit. Mexican authorities had previously advised divers to wear brightly colored wetsuits in order to stand out from seals. Because of the migration, pregnant female sharks often enter the Gulf's waters looking for fatty seals, which are often the preferred prey of hungry sharks. Some experts suggested the shark responsible for the attack might have mistaken Manuel Lopez for a seal because the man's suit was black. Other experts were unconvinced by these claims, stating that this kind of theory is hard to prove. Why? Because most wetsuits are black, or dark blue anyway, and there's no way to tell statistically whether they are the common denominator in shark attacks. However, many scientists agree the divers' fishing activity was most likely the cause of the attack. According to Chris Lowe, the director of the Shark Lab at California State University, Long Beach, the smell of the shellfish concentrated around the diver could have lured the shark to the area. This might have happened because sharks have extraordinarily developed olfactory senses, hence one of their nicknames, swimming noses. Sharks can easily detect smells in the water. To top it off, they can feel the vibrations caused by struggling animals. But there are other theories that might be true. The man's position on the ocean floor could have made him look like a foraging sea lion, which are also a favorite prey to sharks. There were other mysteries concerning the attack. Why did the shark bite the man's head and shoulders? Sharks usually go for the limbs. Once again, experts suggested Lopez's position on the seafloor might have provoked the unusual manner of the attack. Because the man was essentially walking along the bottom, the shark couldn't have approached him from underneath. Approaching prey from the side would have most likely exposed the shark to a counterattack, so biting the man's head was probably the shark's only viable option. Or maybe the creature went for the head for another, far simpler reason. Maybe the shark deliberately went for the head, intent on quickly incapacitating its victim. Despite all the theories, scientists argued that knowing the whole truth and the animal's reasoning was highly unlikely. Sadly, these attacks can happen, but there are safety measures that can potentially save a life. According to National Geographic, most shark attacks aren't fatal. Because they are curious by nature, sharks often bite humans just to figure out what they are. After these so-called sample bites, sharks usually release humans. These fierce animals don't have great eyesight, so they sometimes mistake humans for other mammals. That's when fatal attacks most likely occur. There are some safety measures you can take in order to avoid a shark attack. Avoid swimming at dusk or dawn, since this is feeding time for sharks, and also their eyesight is even worse than usual. Avoid estuaries, since the murky waters can provide a perfect hiding point for sharks. Avoid areas with fishing, because the smells and the vibrations can and will attract sharks. Don't wear shiny objects while swimming, because sharks can mistake shiny jewelry for fish. Don't panic if you encounter a shark, and maintain eye contact.